Today I want to have a little chat about ashwagandha, which is bandied around the thyroid world and is in just about every thyroid supplement known to man, except for the one I buy, which I do that on purpose. Here's why. Now, if you are working with a herbalist, keep working with your herbalist. Your herbalist knows your background, or naturopath or whoever, integrative specialist, whoever you're working with. If they've got you on ashwagandha, which is also called Withania, winter cherry, Indian ginseng, I think it's also called, then go with them. They know your background, they know everything there is to know, and they've got you covered, right? However, for everybody else that goes and gets themselves some Withania or ashwagandha over the counter because it's supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread for thyroid disease, here is a little something you need to know. First of all, it is a nightshade. So if you avoid nightshades due to intolerances or any other issue, and you're taking Withania or ashwagandha every single day, then you're getting yourself a dose of nightshades every single day. And it could be the reason you're not feeling quite so well, if that's what's going on for you. Now, the second thing that you need to know about it is an adaptogen. So it can improve or it can dull down hormones, right? So it can, go from one way or the other. If you have Hashimoto's, you swing from one side to the other, which makes it very tricky for Withania or ashwagandha to try and control. The other thing we have to take into consideration is if you are on thyroid medication. This is a big one. Now, if you're on thyroid medication and you get yourself a good dose of ashwagandha because you're all good with nightshades, and this adaptogen, this very potent herb, is doing wonders for your thyroid, however, you're still taking the same amount of thyroid medication, it could swing you into hyper because it is improving your thyroid and you'll need less medication. So if you decide you want to take ashwagandha, then I would highly recommend you work with somebody. I would also highly recommend that you get blood tests before you start taking them. Check where your levels are at, get all your tests, like the whole thyroid panel, if you can wing it. Then in 6 weeks to 8 weeks, have them done again, because odds are you won't need as much medication, but you won't realize that it's because you're taking ashwagandha that you don't need as much medication. There are so many amazing herbs, supplements, functional foods, algae, fungi, you name it out there that could potentially help us. I'm not saying they all do or they all don't. It is very different for everybody. However, we must work with somebody who knows what they're doing, A, in the thyroid world, and B, with the herb, for that very reason. It could be the best thing ever for you to take ashwagandha and could set you on the road to healing, or it could be the worst thing ever for you, but you don't realize that that's what's the problem is that you now need less medication. So see why it's tricky, and see why everybody says work with a practitioner, and we all go, I'm just going to go buy it from the chemist. Okay, I get it, I hear you, but there are some things like ashwagandha that could have a good effect, but if you're not aware of what's going on, a bad effect at the same time, but you won't pick up on it because you don't know that that's what's happening. Anybody out there taking ashwagandha? And that is purely why I take a thyroid supplement. I take a Panaxia brand. The brand is called Panaxia, and it is about the only one, it's called Thyroid Caps. It is about the only one I've ever found that does not contain ashwagandha or Withania, if you call it that. I do that because I am still on thyroid medication. So I don't want that extra added layer of not knowing what my thyroid's doing and having to check far more often. I'd rather do it slow and steady and find a different herb if I'm wanting ashwagandha for whatever reason. Here's what I'd recommend instead if you're looking for an adaptogen. and that's rhodiola. Rhodiola is very kind, and I think of it as quite a feminine adaptogen and great for women. It is not a part of the nightshade family, and it is a lot more gentle. So it won't have as strong as an effect as Withania. And I know I keep changing the name of it. I call it ashwagandha most of the time, but I think most people call it Withania. So that's why I keep flipping between the two. So rhodiola is probably a better version, but I tend to avoid adaptogens in general for myself because I take thyroid medication still. When I get to the point that I am not taking thyroid medication, I will go all out on the adaptogens because it will help level things out without interfering with the medication too severely and causing me to need more blood tests than what I would normally have. So if you are not on medication and your thyroid's struggling, then absolutely I would still work with somebody who knows what they're doing because they might pick up on other medications you're taking. And that's why we see a professional, right? Because they know the ins and outs of things, and it might save you money more than anything because you're wasting your money in some cases because of something else you're taking that nullifies that adaptogen or that herb, which are not cheap. So sometimes actually paying to go and see somebody in this field might save you money in the long term. All right, so that's all I wanted to say about ashwagandha or withania today, because it's a really, really important topic and it's something that we all need to be aware of rather than just, oh, we need ashwagandha because we have a thyroid problem. No,